I became a certified life coach back in 2009. That was a very long time ago. And I remember at the time when I would tell people I am a life coach, people didn't even know what it meant. I remember people were like, oh, like a coach, like in water, like you help people swim, like you save people. I was like, no, that's not it. And then I would have to go on and explain what it meant and what it was to be a life coach. Now, of course, times have changed today. I think that the term life coaching is known pretty much internationally. You know, people know what a life coach is, what a life coach does. There's all types of variations, right, as well of coaches. However, not everyone who becomes a coach reaches success. Why is that? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you what you can do if you want to become a certified coach, but a successful one. Welcome to the ultimate guide to becoming a certified coach, but most importantly, a successful one, right? How can you become a successful coach in today's world where there is so much competition, right? There's so many coaches out there. There's life coaches, business coaches, executive coaches, and relationship coaches, and spiritual coaches, and just all types of coaches of all different fields. How can you become a successful one? Now, the first thing that we must understand is that the coaching industry is a very, very lucrative industry. Today, it is worth $4.5 billion. And it keeps on growing, because I remember just a few years ago, I looked at those numbers and it was around 3.4. So that means that in just a few years, it has gone up of $1 billion. What I would say that this means is that there is enough space for everyone. Right? So if you want to become a coach today, it's not too late. I hear a lot of people say, oh no, but that's like, there's so many coaches, it's too late. It's as if someone tomorrow said, well, you know what, I'm just not going to open a restaurant because there's already so many restaurants. There's always going to be place for restaurants, right? It's as if someone one day said, you know what, I'm not going to become a doctor because there's already so many doctors. There's always going to be a need for more doctors, right? And if you have the desire to do it, if you have the talent to do it, if you have the passion for doing it, then I really think that being a coach, becoming a certified coach, can be a very, very rewarding career. I always say that it's a rewarding career. It's a career that also gives you a lot of abundance in all types of ways in your life. And it's a career also that is always allowing you to grow, right? To learn, to expand yourself. Because being a coach, if you want to be a good coach, well, you need to always be ahead, right? And you need to always be learning and growing and expanding your mind. So now let me share with you what are the steps that you must take if you want to become a life coach, if you want to become a successful life coach. So as I mentioned at the start of this video, I became a certified coach back in 2009. The way that it happened, just to make a very long story short, it was that I was 19 years old at the time. 2 years prior to that, I had finished high school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was living in an apartment with a friend of mine, working 2 full-time jobs, being paid really minimum wage. And I was really just in a place in my life where I felt like I was turning in circles. And I'm not the type of person to sit around and do the same thing and live the same type of life over and over again. And that was always me since I was very young. I get bored very easily, right? So at that point, for 2 years, I had been living that life of being with my friend in our apartment. We would have fun, of course, go out with friends, have friends over, enjoy life. But at that point, I was like, okay, is there more? There has to be more to life. I need to find what I'm supposed to do in this life. And then one day, because when you look for something, I believe that the universe will send it to you. I saw this article online as I was working. I remember I was working at a call center, and I was on the computer, I was online, and I just saw this article. I think it was like on a side ad of Facebook, and it was about life coaching. I did not even know what it was and what it meant, but for some reason I clicked on it. It looked interesting, and I started to read on life coaching, this new profession, this new career that was taking over the United States, and that people were becoming so successful at being life coaches and changing people's lives. And I just remember feeling and thinking, that's something I want to do. I think that one thing, and this is really the first step, is understanding that if you want to be a coach, you have to be someone who likes to contribute to people's lives, and you have to be someone who likes to share, right? Share your story or share your knowledge or share advice. And I remember that when I was younger, when I was a teenager, because I didn't know what I wanted to study, I would always think, okay, what career field in university could be good for me? And the only one that was a little bit attractive was psychology. But then I remember I was like, I will never be able to, for the rest of my life, sit in front of someone who's sad and depressed and hear them talk about how sad and depressed they are. I'm going to get sad and depressed, and I'm going to start crying with the person in the session. So I was like, even if I like the field of psychology, I don't think this is for me. So when I heard about coaching, I was like, this is perfect, because here's the difference between therapy and coaching. Therapy focuses on the past of the person, which is very important. Because if you want to move ahead, you need to fix what happened in the past. Not fix it, but heal really what happened to you in the past. Understand what happened. So you need to do that with a therapist. But a coach doesn't do that. When it comes to coaching, it's really future focused. It's purpose focused. It's driven, right? It's okay. So here we are. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. If you want to talk about that, go see a therapist. But here we are. And where are we going to get? How are we going to get to where we're supposed to get in the future, right? What are the steps? That's what coaching does. So the first thing that you need to have as a coach, really, and this is something that you need to have inside of you, is that desire to want to help people, guide people, inspire people, motivate people, educate people. That's the first thing. If you are not someone who is able to self-motivate, right? So if, let's say, you're having a hard time during the day and you're not able to pull yourself out of that, it's going to be very difficult to be a coach, because as a coach, you need to have that innate ability inside of you to always try to look at the positive side of things, right? To always be motivated, always want to inspire people. So you need to, I think, first step to become a coach is to have a desire to contribute and to really, I would say, bring positivity into the world, right? So you have to have a very future-focused mindset, not a past-focused mindset, but a future-focused mindset. Let me interrupt this episode for a second, because I have something very, very important to share with you. We have our exclusive masterclass, The Art of Womanhood and the Science of Having It All, coming up real soon. Now, what's very, very exciting about this masterclass is that it's completely free. All you need to do is sign up, leave your name and email address. The link is in the description below this video. It will also appear on the screen. During this free masterclass, which doesn't happen often, it really happens once in a blue moon that I do it live, I will be sharing with you how you can master the art of womanhood and the science of having it all, meaning that you will find the balance between your feminine and masculine. We all have these two energies within us. And I think that especially nowadays, it's very difficult to find that balance. But once you do, once you understand the secrets to becoming really the alchemist of your life, everything changes and you become a magnet to all the things that you desire and all the things that you dream of. So don't forget to go sign up now. Spots are limited, so you don't want to miss it. Now, back to the episode. The second step that you must have, if I can say it like that, as a coach, is you need to have some sort of expertise or knowledge about something, right? Now, you don't need to be the greatest expert in the world. Let's say if you want to become a relationship coach, you don't need to be like this best most expert person on relationships. You don't even need to be like married for 30 years. You don't even need that. You just need to have at least some sort of base and knowledge, and especially some sort of experience in the field, something that you went through and that you were able to overcome. Right? So I always say, as a coach, you need to be at least 2 steps ahead of the people that you're going to coach. You don't need to be 20 steps ahead. You just need to be 2 steps ahead so that you can guide them, right? Because there's always going to be an audience, right? A clientele for you, but they need to be 2 steps behind and you 2 steps in front so that you can guide them. When I first started, and as I look back now, I think this is very funny, but it worked at the time. In my first bios, I was a relationship coach. I really, looking back, I didn't really know nothing about relationships. I was 19 years old. However, I had left a toxic relationship. So at that point, I was able to help young women who were in toxic relationships. Again, I was not the enlightened coach on relationships that knew everything. No, but at least I had gone through that struggle. I overcame that struggle. I knew how to get yourself out of there. So then I was able to teach that, right? And I remember I started like that in the first 3 years of my career as a coach. I would really focus on relationships. I would make a lot of videos on relationships. I even at some point had a newspaper column called Dr. Love. I was writing on a newspaper in Montreal, a weekly column on Tuesday about relationship questions, right? So when you want to become a coach, you need to have some sort of expertise in something. And again, I was calling myself a relationship coach. I wasn't even married. My longest relationship was about what, 4 years. Like I was not like really the greatest expert, but to some people I was the expert, right? I was very good at it. So make sure you have some sort of expertise in something. It's very important. What lessons have you learned about something, and what can you teach? This brings me to the third point. If you want to become a successful coach, the reason why you want to have some expertise and experience in something, it's because you don't want to be, and I've seen this a lot, I see this a lot in the industry. You don't want to be the type of coach that just repeats what other coaches are saying, you know? You don't want to be the type of coach that is just saying the same thing that other people are saying. You actually want to bring something new to the table. So besides having the expertise, you need to also do research. You need to do research. You need to gain new knowledge. You need to study the field. You need to learn new things constantly. So when I started as a coach and I was a relationship expert, I started to read all of the books on relationships. Yes, I had that little life experience at my 19 years old, 19 years of life, but I also started to read all the books on relationships and on love in order to understand this topic more and to master it, right? So you want to find a topic, find an expertise, and master it. It's good to have the experience, yes, but then you must master. The next step that you need to really take into consideration, I think it's a very important one. Besides having the experience and the knowledge, right, and the mastery, I think that it's very important to also have the credibility. And the only way that you can be credible in a field is if you believe that you are credible, right? So there's a lot of people that have the imposter syndrome. And I think that we all struggle with that when we start. I had the imposter syndrome. And I think that when I started, that is probably the reason why I decided that I wanted to write a book. Because I felt that I was 19 years old. I didn't really know nothing about life. My fear was always that people would find out my age. Like I would always pretend to be older than I was, because I didn't want people to know that I was 19 years old. And I would think about ways that how can people take me more seriously? And that's when the idea of writing a book came. I said, if I write a book, if I'm an author, then I think people will take me more seriously. So you need to ask yourself, what can you do to gain credibility? Yes, you're gonna need the experience. Yes, you're gonna need the expertise, the knowledge. That's very important. But what can you do in order for you feel that credibility? Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's doing a certification. I did that too in 2009. I did my coaching certification in order to feel like, okay, this is it. You know, this is official. I have my certification. What can you do to that? Maybe you can start giving conferences on the topic. What are the things that you can do in order to feel credible? Because if you don't believe that you are a respected and expert coach, no one's going to believe it. Right? So you must believe it first in order for other people to also believe it. And finally, the final step, which I think is the one that a lot of coaches tend to forget, is Maya Angelou said it best: when you learn, teach. So as I said, you need to gain the experience, the expertise, you need to learn the knowledge, you need to do all of these things, but then you have to teach and share that knowledge with the world. And I think that we live in a day and age where it's easier than it's ever been before. Never in this world has it been easier to get known for what you do, you know, to become known for what you do. People back in the day had to, I don't know, purchase TV commercials. They had to purchase ads in newspapers and magazines. Now today, all you have to do is turn on a camera and start making videos, right? When I first started, that's the first thing that I started to do. I started on YouTube, making videos on YouTube. Another thing is that I started reaching out to high schools around my city and saying I want to go give a conference for free. So I would go and do that, again, because my public was a younger audience, because I was 19 years old. So I didn't feel the credibility really to speak to an older crowd, right? So I started with the young teenage girls to teach them about self-love and self-esteem. So what can you do to get your message out there? What can you do to share with the world the things that you have learned? What can you do to share with the world your knowledge, your expertise, your story also, right? Because as I said at the start, you need to have a story. You need to have something that you can say, look, I've been through that, and look, I'm on the other side now, and I can help you do the same. So this is a very important point, because without it, you can have the greatest story in the world. You can have the most knowledge. You can read all of the books that you want, but no one's going to know who you are. No one's going to want to hire you. So you need to find ways on how to get yourself out there. Go knock on doors. Go, again, I think that the easiest way nowadays is just being online and making content online. Try to find ways to get yourself known. And eventually, with a lot of consistency, right? It's not by making 2 videos that the world's gonna know about you, right? With a lot of time and consistency, eventually people will find out about you. So that is really the key. And if I could add one last key to this is, as I said, it's really patience. Right? It's not going to happen overnight. Nothing worthwhile will happen overnight. And for me, as I look back on my journey, it really, before I started to be able to make a great living out of this, it was 5 years. It took 5 years of a lot of work, of a lot of doing free things, like free videos online, like giving free conferences, like just doing a lot in order to get known. But it's like anything, right? Look at it as if you wanted to become, I don't know, an actor. That's going to take time. Look at it, if you want to become a doctor, it's going to take the same time to study, right, in university. It literally is the same. So nothing will happen overnight. It takes a lot of work. It takes all of these steps. You cannot miss any of them. And eventually you will become a successful certified coach. So this is it. This was your ultimate guide to becoming a certified coach. Now, if you're interested in becoming a life coach and in learning about this profession, we actually have a certification called the A.V.A. International Certified Coach. You can go and have more information in the description below this video, and you can find out about the course, about how long it is. It's a course that we both do online and in person, so you can learn more, like I said, in the description below this video. If you want us to do other guides, other ultimate guides, let us know in the comment section below. And if you like this video, don't forget to like it, don't forget to share with all of your friends, and of course to subscribe for new videos every single week here on Alexandra TV. That is it for today, and I will see you next week.